Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about a trans character in the Super Mario universe. We're going to talk about Nintendo getting a GLAAD nomination for trans representation. And this video is going to piss off everybody, I think, because I don't have a clear explanation as to what is going on with this character from Paper Mario. But we'll talk about it because it is turning into quite the thing online. A lot of people saying this character was never meant to be trans. Some people saying this character was trans in Japan. And then Nintendo of America just retransitioned, I guess, the character because they changed the dialogue, as tends to happen, especially, I mean, this game came out like, what, 20 years ago? So, you know, they did censor a lot of media, especially Nintendo back in the day. So that's also possible. But we're going to try to make sense of it. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to see if it's a controversy or a non-controversy. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to clownfishminus.com. Help support the Reef. Check out our merch over there. You can also join the Reef here on YouTube and on Locals as well. So yeah, we'll talk about what's going on. This is Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door, which was the GameCube Paper Mario game, which I have not touched in many years. So people are gonna be like, you're wrong about the lore. I'm like, you know what, I probably am. So I'm gonna disclaim it up front. I played this with Squid King when he was just a tot. And I never did beat it. I got about halfway. I think we got about halfway through it. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I just got busy with life.
Could see how hard it was.
Yeah, he was playing it. I know we played the first one on the N64 and he really liked that. So we got this one. And he was like, yeah, this is like way harder than the other one. But it's been a very long time.
Yeah, he was also very little. So
he was very little. And I have not picked up the remake. So I'm just going to have to go by what is circulating on the internet here. But I'm trying to figure this out because there are conflicting stories as to whether or not this character deserves the GLAAD nomination.
Okay.
So this has come from Nintendo Life. We'll talk about this first, and then we'll talk about the controversy around this character. Nintendo bags a GLAAD nomination for Paper Mario's trans representation. Nintendo has received a nomination for the upcoming 36th annual GLAAD Media Awards for its trans rep in 2024's Paper Mario The Thousand-Year Door Switch remake. The game launched on May 23rd, and it features the inclusion of dialogue from the 2004 GameCube version. This game is over 20 years old. That had originally been altered for its release in the West. Focused on Mario's ghost companion, Vivian, the change effectively restored the character's trans identity. That is up for debate, and that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, because it doesn't seem like it's as clear cut as people are making it out to be. Thousand-Year Door joins 9 other nominees in the outstanding video game category, alongside Fear of the Spotlight, which I heard was actually pretty good. But we have a bunch here. Life is Strange. It's weird to see like all these new games. Of course, Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Yeah, shocker there.
Is of course in there, considering the whole game seemed to focus on pronoun usage. Dustborn.
Well, they're the new porn, so
they're the new porn. Yeah, that was a disaster. So here's the deal. So here's how I found it. I found it on X, and Nintendo Life put it up, and we have a debate here. Cameron, the dumbass of Limbo, that's their that's how they're referring to themselves. I can say that, right? I mean, she was originally trans back in 2004. The original Japanese game confirmed it. The translation was censored for whatever reason. I'm glad they fixed the translation error and cleared up that she is trans. Now, here's where the debate comes in to play. And I did not realize there was any debate about this. Purple
Would you
ghost.
Imagine that's what we'd be talking about today?
Trans gay ghosts or whatever. Yeah. Cross-dressing. Cross-dresser or trans. I don't know. It's very, very weird. It's very... okay, so this is Sombra de Amigo. It was once thought Vivian was trans, but with localizing of today, lots of people are starting to go back to the old stuff and see what was actually changed, and found out that Vivian being trans came from the French localization, and that the real Vivian was just a cross-dresser.
Okay.
We know what the reason was for this. They did it with Vivian, Birdo, Sheik, and Poison. Poison was I thought when I was a kid, the female character from Final Fight, and then they changed her into like a very femme dude. But yeah, Poison's actually trans.
Well, I was thinking like Sailor Moon. They did this a lot. You know, we had the cousins in quotes. You know, there was a lot of different characters that they would just, you know, change things, like especially with the villains. And it would like, oh, that's a woman and a guy, and it was like, no, they're both guys.
Yeah. So this is okay. So we had this happen before. Birdo in Mario 2. Not that it matters, but Birdo, the pink bird with the bow, is actually, I believe, a male who spits eggs out, identifies as a female. And they even had a pretty insulting commercial with Birdo in Japan where he had like a really deep voice and stuff. And I was like, wow, I did not see that. When I was a kid, I'm just like, oh, it's a pink dinosaur shooting eggs. You know, it's the same character at the end of every damn level. But yeah, so people are saying, no, Vivian's not trans, just a transvestite. This person says they weren't trans. That was 100% the English translation. In Japan, they're a boy dressed as a girl. Stop making non-trans characters trans. No, he wasn't. Original Japanese even hard confirms it was a he and always meant to be. So here's the original.
Yeah, I knew about this, that was saying, you know, that he was one of the Shadow Sisters, and they're like, you know, another trio.
Shadow Trio. Yeah. Right. But then people are trying to say that, I guess in the new version, which again I haven't played, but that it was basically just a very mean joke, like you're never going to be a real woman, you know.
Okay.
Oh boy, yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, so that's kind of nasty for Nintendo. Now here's
but I mean, it seems really weird. Like, why would you make that joke? You know, in the game, no one would get that, especially
right.
So I don't think it's a joke.
I tried to do a little bit of research. Well, by try to do a little bit of research, I had Grok do some research and pulled up some links here. So just take it for whatever it's worth. But they're saying, according to Tumblr, you have to look at the source. According to them.us. According to them.us and the Vivian Super Mario page on the Ultimate Pop Culture Wiki, Vivian's portrayed as trans. This is evident from the dialogue where she refers to herself as one of the Shadow Sisters, and her sister corrects her by calling her a man, indicating a transphobic narrative or crossdresser. Who knows? This portrayal was consistent with some European translations as well, including French and Spanish versions, where the identity is affirmed or at least hinted at.
You know, it doesn't really matter what the translation.
Does it matter?
No, but I'm just saying, what was the original intent? Like, you know what I mean? If they translate it wrong and change it. Okay, Sailor Moon. You know, Neptune and Uranus are not cousins, and it's clearly obvious they're not cousins. So you, instead of saying, well, the American one is the definitive one, you're going to go to the original and be like, what was the original intent? You know, that's what is the original version? That's all that matters.
Well, that's why I'm having a hard time, because it depends on who you ask, and it depends on what the motivation is behind it. Because apparently they made it much more explicit in the remake version. They said the Switch remake of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door restored Vivian's trans identity in all versions, including English. The dialogue was updated to explicitly affirm her trans status, with lines like, "Truth is, it took me a while to realize I was their sister, not their brother. Now their usual bullying feels heavier." This represents a significant shift toward inclusivity and acknowledgement of the character's original identity. But a lot of people are saying that's not the intention. It was the character was supposed to be a cross-dresser. But this is an official Nintendo translation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and they're getting a GLAAD award for it. It's just very.
I mean, I guess you could look at it as it's a remake of a game, and then in the remake they decided to clarify it. I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, but it is confusing.
Yeah. So, like, look, I mean, whichever way it goes, whatever this fictional purple ghost identifies as, right?
It's not like you can lift up the dress and look.
Yeah, right. I don't think there's anything there. I don't think they have any bits of anything.
I'm sure there's lots of art that tells you otherwise, but that's
oh my god, story. I don't even want to think about that. So here's the thing: it actually is not unprecedented for there to be changes. Again, like you were talking, you know, Sailor Moon here in the U.S., where they just are like, yeah, the U.S. audiences are definitely not going to be okay with this. So they're cousins now. Uranus and Neptune are cousins. Now, the weird thing is with Sailor stars. A lot of people don't realize in the manga, they actually are women the whole time, pretending to be men, but they're actually women the whole time. Whereas in the anime, they physically change from men into women,
right?
Which up until recently, I just thought that was kind of funny. Like it, it didn't like, it was just kind of like, oh my God. So what happens if a man can change into a Sailor Scout? Oh, they turn into a woman. Okay. And that's been done so many times in anime. And so, I mean, to me, it doesn't,
this whole situation to me doesn't really matter. I'm not going to lie.
No, but they're getting a GLAAD award for basically detranslating or embellish. You know what I'm saying? It's just but so's Dustborn, and so's Dragon Age the Veil card.
Yeah,
so
I mean the bar is low. So
the bar is pretty low. But yeah, so I mean, you guys do your own research. It literally depends on who you ask. And
I never thought I'd be sitting here trying to determine the gender of a ghost character in a game 20 years, some years later. Well, here the game came out. I'm just like, who cares?
That's the thing though. But this is where we're at with media in general, is that everybody is like so hyper fixated on the sexual identity and the gender identity of fictional cartoon characters and video game characters and whatever. And it does become a freaking knockdown drag out. Well, I mean, look, they've adopted Velma Dinkley as being a gay icon, but the character was very, very straight in the show for years. But they wanted her to be gay because she looked gay. She was coded gay. I don't know.
It's like Gina Carano, like the character, they decided that Cara Dune was trans, even though there's nothing saying that Cara Dune was trans. So because they decided that the actor has to side with them. And it's like, but nothing was ever stated that Cara Dune was trans. You know what I mean? Or was LGBTQ in any way. Nor does it make the actor have to side with you on it. Honestly, if I was watching this game, the character's named Vivian, I saw that, I'd say it's a girl.
Yeah,
I would just assume that was a girl. Sorry.
I thought Birdo was, right?
So did I.
Pink with a bow. I mean, so, oh my God, maybe Minnie Mouse is actually Mickey's brother.
There you go. Because did it matter? No.
Does it change a game?
Not really.
I think it's just the question. People now, here's the thing. Even if that was the original translation, people are so against Western localizers now that they're just going to assume that they're taking liberties with it.
That's true.
Because they have before. I mean, let's be honest. If they're just reverting it, if in fact, and I'm not an expert, but if in fact they're just reverting it to the original Japanese dialogue, I don't see a problem with that. In fact, I would actually encourage them to do that.
Yeah, I would stick with the original dialogue because that was the intention. Whatever they're saying in their dialogue is what the character was intended to be.
Right.
However, if they are saying now, and they're saying now that in the reissue, the remaster, that we're deciding that we are going this way, I mean, that's their choice. And I guess we have to take it as what they say.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. If you're reverting it back to what the original, now the difference would be if this character was very clearly not a trans character, right, and they decided to make this character a trans character because somebody on the localization team felt
that's
that they needed to be seen, right? That is the difference, and that's I think what we're trying to get across with any kind of localizers, that we do have a bunch of localizers that are adding lib to translations because they want to insert their own ideology into it. But if it was there to begin with and they're just putting it back, if that is the case, people disagree. I don't know. I just think it's funny.
We don't know.
I'm being completely honest.
The Japanese version was originally is what I would go with. But now, if Nintendo themselves are saying that's what the character is now, then that's what it is now,
Yeah, I mean, it's because
they're the definitive answer, not us.
This is just wild that
it is wild. I don't understand why we're talking about this.
This is a 20-plus-year-old game. This is a side character in said game, and we are discussing her sexual identity.
Who cares?
This is so fucking weird. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes.
let's wrap this up. So there we go, guys.
Everybody's mad now, so
everybody's mad because we're not saying definitively. I'm just saying go do some research. Depends on who you ask. Is or isn't it? I don't give a shit.
Doesn't matter who.
I really don't.
What's Nintendo saying? What Nintendo's saying is what.
That's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up
that's
to Nintendo.
It's their character. It's their decision. So.
All right. Yes, Graham the Vilgar. Okay. Anyway, let's wrap this one up, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.